Good afternoon. Are we on? Are we live? All right. Facebook Live. How cool is that? All right.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. It's 1 o'clock on Thursday, the first day of spring, March 21st. So a very special day and a very timely topic. Dr. Singh is going to be introducing us to some of the concepts around detoxification. And springtime is always a great time to refresh ourselves, get rid of the winter, pounds, the winter kludge, and just get ready for a new spring. So it's a very seasonal, appropriate renewal thing for us to be doing. And there's a lot of traditions and history in different societies. So Dr. Singh's going to speak about some naturopathic approaches to doing appropriate detox. So tell me about what you think detoxification is all about, because it can be a bit of a controversial subject sometimes.
Yes, it can, and I think the first point, which is important to make, which I know you've shared with me as well, is that we all know that our bodies are, it's a great machinery that's detoxifying all the time, right? So that's happening every day, day in, day out. Your organs, such as your skin being the largest detox organ, your liver, your kidneys, your intestinal tract, lungs, lymphatics. So this is such a marvelous design. There does and may come opportunities when we want to sort of upregulate those pathways. It gives your body a break and allow it to sort of repair itself. We use the term cleansing because essentially, you may want a patient to remove certain things out of their diet, which we'll get into. So detoxification, I guess, as a simple definition, is elimination of toxins and waste from our body via the different organ systems. And there may come times when, whether it's once a year, we are around that spring change of season. It's a popular time when patients may come to us and say, I would like to do this for myself, and what's the best approach? So it's not for everyone, but I would say at some point it's a good idea just to kind of enhance those physiological pathways.
Very good. Okay. So I guess the one message I wanted to then repeat, if I got that correctly, is that there's no shortcuts to letting your body go and then fixing it all by detoxing once or twice a year. There's obviously strategies you have to maintain all year round, because there's always this functionality happening in your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
But definitely in the spring, it's a nice time to rejuvenate and maybe double down on what do we do? Do we lean out our diet a little bit? Do we eat more of certain things? Because again, there's a misunderstanding. I've had some people think that if you go to the bathroom a lot, you're detoxing, but obviously there's much more to it than that. And so what are we trying to do when we detox?
Yeah, and because you mentioned, going to the bathroom or bowel movements, obviously that's going to be part of it. Like having your 1 to 2 ideal bowel movements a day is important.
Right.
So obviously, any naturopathic doctor who's going to sit in with a patient is going to have a discussion about diet. Mm-hmm. So I guess the simple thing to put out there is, okay, we're going to eliminate processed foods, right? Okay. So everything that's common sense to us, I think a lot of us know what are those unhealthy foods, what are the ones that are healthier. So first step is we're going to remove processed foods. We may encourage patients.
Is like foods with chemicals, food colorings,
additives, food colorings, additives, takeout, fast food, high in saturated fats. Definitely taking a break from those, and for how long would depend on the individual case. There may come opportunities when you want to eliminate those grains. I don't want to jump on the gluten-free bandwagon, but things like your bagels, your buns, your pastries, high sugar products. You've mentioned the preservatives, additives. So these are things that definitely will be on the list of wanting someone to remove if they're on like a cleansing or detox phase. Obviously, high sugar beverages like pop will be something that we're going to encourage them to remove, and is a good thing to do anyways. Right. Caffeine, again, in moderation, caffeine can be a good thing. But if someone is having 2 to 3 cups a day, then it may be a good opportunity for them to minimize, if not eliminate, during that detox phase. And I should say that when we detoxify, it's not uncommon for patients to have some withdrawal symptoms, and that varies from individual to individual, but namely you could feel for the first couple of days fatigue, headaches, joint pain. Now that may be a good thing.
Right. So that's interesting that if you remove certain things, you'll actually feel worse for it, which is almost like a drug withdrawal kind of effect, which is odd that it would happen from foods.
That's right.
But so that suggests that there's more to that food than just nourishment. It obviously is, we're addicted to some of these things, and they have some kind of a stimulating effect that in the long run may not be what we really want our bodies to be living with all the time.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was going to mention, with those withdrawal symptoms, there are things we can put into place to help minimize the degree of that withdrawal. So, and again, I know we're sort of speaking generally. Every patient will have something that's tailored to their needs,
Right.
and that will be safe and gentle for them. So hydration obviously is going to be part of that, drinking optimal amounts of water. Certain herbal teas do come into the mix. For example, dandelion tea may be one that's popular when you're doing like a cleansing because of its affinity for the liver and just helping to promote some of those liver detox pathways. So the summary of it is, when it comes from a dietary perspective, I think all of us innately know those foods that we probably should have a break from, that we may be overindulging with, that may be stressing that insulin pathway. Detox is a good way, for example, to help with insulin resistance and give your body a break from those signals as well. It also gives an opportunity for, if I can use a word like cell repair, because when we do detoxify, you're giving that body an opportunity to sort of rejuvenate itself, do some repair, give that liver a break from, its constant detoxifying, especially from the byproducts of our metabolism.
Okay, so it's not just detoxing, it's even allowing some of these regulatory functions in our body to reset themselves.
That's a good word,
in terms
reset.
of blood sugars and other things.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so what would you do with supplements? Are there certain supplements that you feel would be an integral part of doing a detox?
Sure, and although the list may be very long, but again, as we take pride in individualizing every case that comes to us, but I would say, generally speaking, vitamin C is always going to be on top of my list personally, and I know for yourself as well. Vitamin C is the basic good old vitamin for everything, but it does have an affinity for those detoxification pathways, phase 1 and phase 2 detox. Any repair that's needed, vitamin C is going to be a major cofactor, and it does have some heavy metal detoxifying abilities as well. Selenium, which is always on the list as a trace mineral cofactor. So all of those physiological reactions that are important to help the body clear toxins, selenium is always going to be something that is going to be important for that.
Okay.
If we go into the intestinal tract, right now one of the biggest buzzwords is the gut biome,
Right.
and how important that is to your overall health. So we may encourage a patient to get on a high quality probiotic. Probiotics are not just good for, obviously, digestion, your overall gut integrity, but do play a role in helping the body remove those toxins.
Okay.
So that may be something that is part of that mix as well.
No, we were saying about, environmental toxins. I hadn't really put that much emphasis on, but we do live, in a very urban world nowadays, most of us, and there's heavy metals, cadmium and things coming out of car exhausts, and we live in homes that are sealed all winter, that, there's, gassing off of formaldehydes and other chemicals from everything that we live with nowadays. We kind of, so actually we do live in a pretty toxic world in some ways, and the winter is obviously worse because we aren't getting out and getting the fresh air and having our windows open in our home and stuff. So I can see where that would burden the body a little bit more.
Yeah, and you make a good point there, Alf, because I think, there may have been a point sometime in this world where our bodies were designed to sort of detoxify, the metabolites from stress, your byproducts from diet, bacteria, viruses. But now we almost live in what you're saying, an unnatural world, right? So we're constantly, as you said, bombarded. So in that way, it does become important to once or twice a year perhaps give this body a break, this machinery a break, just like we go and get our oil change for our car. I think it's a good idea.
Well, that makes sense. So we're enhancing something that's a natural process, just giving it a little, doubling down on giving it a chance to kick butt a little bit in the springtime or whenever we put that attention on it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's very cool. What else would you tell our patients in terms of our listeners in terms of how to prevent or how to maintain the best functionality for detoxing all year round? What would you suggest?
So I think some basic points, because I think obviously it's not easy to 24/7 follow like a very restrictive diet.
I don't.
Yes, and I can say the same for myself. We all
We
have
try
our
hard
cheats.
though. We are doing a really good job.
We all have our cheats, but some basic themes that you can do. I mean, everyone has their certain rules. What I tend to say to myself, all right, Ankar, try eating healthy 6 out of 7 days. Like, eat as healthy as you can. And then if on a Saturday evening while I'm watching my Leafs play, I might order a pizza, right? I don't think it's the end of the world.
No.
So that may be one strategy, is how do I want to balance my week out, right? And if I know I'm going to a celebration where I'm going to be eating sort of off all day, then I better, get my shipping gear the next day and eat well. So these are strategies. So your fruits, your vegetables, some of the brassica vegetables become important for phase 2 detox, which I know
in the liver, which is a process in the liver. Yeah.
That's right. So your Brussels sprouts, your kale, asparagus, broccoli, all of these brassica vegetables are going to be important. But you can never go wrong with lots of vegetables, fruit, ideal amounts of water, herbal teas. Why not? Let's start giving up that sugar. Stop adding it into your coffee and your tea. So these changes can sometimes go a long way. Sweating it out, right?
Yes.
So exercise, sauna treatments. It's good to get your body sweating it out, because obviously that's detoxifying. If you're adventurous, jumping up on a trampoline is going to get that, only if it's safe, is going to get that lymphatic flow moving as well, because your lymphatics are part of the detox. And my whole other thing is getting stress in check.
Yes, because being stressed creates its own toxins, doesn't it?
It does. It doesn't help your physiological mechanisms as well.
Well, very good. Thank you, Ankar. So I guess to tie it all together is, do good things all year round, but if you are thinking of doing something a little extra for your health to get spring off to a good start and get you ready for the summer, come and talk to one of the naturopathic doctors at Holistic Healing Arts and get a customized program put together that includes detoxification. I think it's an appropriate part of our good health strategy long term. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, everyone.